They did it again. I didn't expect this character to be like this, but ALHAITHAM is just so good. Like, really good. Yo, what up, guys? I'm back with another Should You Roll. ALHAITHAM's out, and he's really, really good. Like, super, super, super good. ALHAITHAM is the newest Dendro DPS character that just came out very recently, and also he's hot, so that's also a plus. But I'm here to give you the specifics on if this character is worth it to roll, or if this character is worth it in your team. Of course, I'm going to be showing builds, and also how you can play him in a very confident manner. I'll show you teams and a bunch of other stuff. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. ALHAITHAM is another one of the characters where you can use your element inside your own normal attacks, like every other character in this game. Can they come up with some new ideas? But ALHAITHAM works in a different way, where in this situation, he has 3 little light mirrors, or chisel light mirrors, whatever you want to call them. And these 3 little chisel light mirrors, you will be able to use Dendro damage or Dendro attacks. Any Dendro attacks would be including your normal attacks, your charge attacks, your plunging attacks, any one of those, and it works that way. But as soon as these mirrors are gone, you will not be able to use any one of his Dendro damage, meaning you need to keep up his light mirrors if you want to do Dendro damage. Now, how do you do that, per se? Well, it's actually really simple. Your E gives you 2 chisel light mirrors, 2 of them. And if you do a charge attack, it gives you your 3rd. So usually his thing would just be, he would come on field, E, then you would just charge attack, and then you just do normal attacks for the whole time. Now, you can of course use your ult. Your ultimate is very different from this. Your ultimate would count using all those chisel light mirrors in that instance. For example, if you have 3 of them, it would consume 3 mirrors, meaning it would last longer. But that means you will not have any damage for your normal attacks, meaning your normal attacks would just become physical. So you always want to plan out when you're going to be using ALHAITHAM. You want to use Q, or you want to use your E for normal attacks. It's very different on that front, so you invest it onto whatever you want. So you want normal attacks, or do you want your Q damage? So he plays that way, and it's kind of complicated a little bit, but it gets easy, per se. It gets pretty easy to understand after a while on which ability you should be using and which ability that you shouldn't be using at that current moment. Constellations. ALHAITHAM has 2 constellations that I actually recommend. His C1 is when a projection attack hits an opponent, his cooldown is reduced. That's cool and all, it's not that useful. His C2, on the other hand, is where it gets really good. His EM is increased by 50 for a max of 4 stacks, so that means he generates 4 chisel light mirrors. Now, this doesn't count to your ult, and look, it doesn't count to your ult, but you get a max of 4 EM bonuses, which is really good, because the more EM that ALHAITHAM has, the more damage he'll do. So, you know, it's a plus. Really good for him. His C4, on the other hand, if you use your Q, he will consume chisel light mirrors. And each mirror that is consumed, he will gain an elementary mastery bonus for every single one of his party members. It's a 31. So each mirror, so it counts onto that. So if you have 4, that's plus 4, 30. And also, it gives you a 10% damage bonus, which also is a 40% damage bonus for his Q, which is, by the way, really broken. Now his C6, when he uses his Q, he will generate 3 chisel light mirrors, meaning he gains 3 plus more chisel light mirrors, and then he also gets a crit damage and crit rate bonus, if you needed that, I guess. But every single one of his things work together. C1 is okay, C2, C4, C6 is where I'd say is pretty good. You got 2 ways of playing ALHAITHAM. 2 ways, and one I'd only recommend, and an insider secret, is Spread. Spread is just better than this other one. But you got Hyperbloom, and then you got Spread. The best one is Spread, because Spread is just more consistent and works a lot more than with Hyperbloom, ALHAITHAM. But you can use both of them, but I'd only recommend Spread. But first up, we're going to be talking about Spread. Spread is the easiest way to play ALHAITHAM, and the only way I'd recommend you play ALHAITHAM. It consists of you only running 3 Dendro characters and 1 Electro character, so preferably that being Kuki. The 2 other Dendro characters, you can mix and match if you feel like it. If you don't have Nahida, you can put in Kale, you can put in DMC, or if you don't have any of those other characters, well, put a Yao Yao. Yao Yao's free. And one thing I'd recommend you run with a Spread team, if you have C1 Yao Yao, run it. Run it with ALHAITHAM. You will not regret it. Next up is Hyperbloom ALHAITHAM. Now, this consists of ALHAITHAM, Yao Yao, And you can also mix and match if you feel like doing Nahida instead of Yao Yao, Yelan, and Kuki. You can mix and match with Yelan if you feel like putting a Xingqiu, but Yelan is more consistent because of damage bonus. Now, the reason why this isn't as consistent as spread, you're running 2 Dendro characters. Usually there's only 1 Dendro character for a Hyper Bloom team, so it would usually be an Electro character in place of that. But the thing is, Kuki just doesn't have that much uptime and doesn't really go as fast as a lot of the Electro characters does, so, you know, it kind of sucks for her. Alright, ending thoughts on ALHAITHAM, and I can consistently say that ALHAITHAM is quite good, and yeah, I actually have nothing else to say for that. He's just really good. In a lot of situations, I really did think ALHAITHAM was destined to fail, but this is probably the character that surprised me the most, and also Yao Yao. Yao Yao surprised me quite a lot. Being a 4-star and being so privileged like a Yao Yao, she is really good for Dendro characters right now. But next up, we have some other characters coming up, and, you know, I'll try to cover them if I feel like it. And hey, if you guys enjoyed, if you liked the content, press a like, give a comment down below, and sub if you feel like it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.